Hey friends, compadres, amigos, tomodachis, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. There's a common misconception sometimes that if you pay less for something, it's automatically going to be worse than something that you pay more for. Now, of course, sometimes that is true. Sometimes if you pay more for something, it's for a good reason, and it is in fact a lot better. But when it comes to fragrances, you can actually really stretch that dollar and get a lot of bang for your buck. And there are a lot of scents out there that are cheap, sometimes dirt cheap, that actually smell way more expensive than they are, and will have you smelling absolutely fantastic. And they'll give you that opportunity to tell a little fib, and when somebody around you asks, man, what is that? What are you wearing? How much is that? You can just go ahead and make up a little story and they'll buy it. Oh, this? Yeah, it's 350 bucks. Yeah. Can't tell you what it is though, because then you might actually look it up online, see that I'm lying to you.
It's a secret. Shut up.
All the fragrances I talked to you guys about here today are going to be linked in the description. Feel free to check them out there. And also, if you have TikTok, feel free to check me out there. Just at Gents or just search Gents. I've given into the dark side. I'm making some content on there different than what's here. So if you have that app, check me out there. Let's get started. Let's jump straight into it. Now, I do have a couple clones here, but this is not a list of clones, just a couple. And I'm gonna get one of them out of the way right away. Fragrance World Unakid Green Athur. The name just rolls right off the tongue. And this one is even better if somebody asks you what you're wearing, because you can just straight up lie and say, oh, it's Parfums de Marly Latent Exclusive, which honestly sounds a little better, doesn't it? Yeah, it's called Fragrance World Unakid Green Athur. You know.
He's bluffing.
They'll just look at you like, okay, right, bud. Glad I asked you, making stuff up. As I said, this is a clone of Parfums de Marly Latent Exclusive, and it's really well done. The quality is high, the price is low. It gets that really nice spicy sweetness like you would expect from a Latent Exclusive alternative, and this one has a little touch of that darkness to it, just like Latent Exclusive. The performance is really nice as well, and there are some other Latent Exclusive alternatives out there, different clones. There's Mirage Absolute, which is also by Fragrance World. This one is typically a little bit easier to find and a little bit cheaper. So I'd go for this one because I don't think there's a massive difference in quality between those two. Then of course there's also Al Haramain Detour Noir Exclusive, and that one is good also. I would say if you're trying to get closer to Latent Exclusive, you should get this one, whereas Detour Noir Exclusive is kind of in between the original Latent and Latent Exclusive. But all three of those, really, really well done. My choice is gonna be this one. The next one is very, very, very cheap, and it comes from a line that's very near and dear to my heart. It's Drar Intense from Guy Laroche, which reminds me of Guy Ladouche. Anybody out there? Is like 2% of you get that. 98% of you Googling, who's Guy Ladouche? What does that mean? It used to be funny.
Ladouche, Guy Ladouche. Men want to be him. Women want to do him.
So Drar, like I said, this is my jam, Drar Noir right up here. Why is Drar Noir my jam? Well, that was really the first fragrance that kind of got me into fragrances back when I was in elementary school. Yes, I was wearing Drar Noir at elementary school. Yeah. Which goes to show anybody can wear anything. Because if I, at like 7, 8 years old, was wearing Drar Noir, you ain't got no excuse. So like 21-year-old out there, oh, it smells so dated. I was like 7. I don't want to hear it. Drar Intense does have a bit of a throwback feel like Drar Noir or the original Drar, but it's also similar in ways to Azzaro Pour Homme Intense. You can find this for about nothing. I've seen this online at some discounters for $15. So that is just insanely cheap. And to be fair, the presentation is kind of cheap. I mean, it's just a little plastic cap and the atomizer. They don't even bother to put a collar over it, but what are you gonna do? It's got patchouli, lavender, clary, sage, wormwood is some of the notes in the fragrance. Also a bit of like a warm, spicy sweetness to it. Got kind of that barbershop-y flair that it's gonna pick up from the Drar fragrances. I think it smells really, really nice, but I will say, younger guys out there, I know I was poking fun, but most of you probably not gonna like this one. Middle-aged and up though, go for it. From there, we'll hop on over to a fresh fragrance, Jimmy Choo Man Aqua. Now I know sometimes people will look at Jimmy Choo and they'll just be like, ah, Jimmy Choo, can't take it seriously as far as fragrances go, but this one is really, really nice. Kind of an under the radar compliment puller. People really love it, gravitate toward it. Super easy to wear spring, summer, fall during the day or off to work, anything like that. It'll work really well. Work. It has grapefruit, cardamom, clary sage, and aquatic notes in the scent. And this one is a little bit more expensive than the other Jimmy Choo fragrances. I think part of that is because it's new or new-ish at this point, but the other part is it works really well. So like I said, you know, sometimes Jimmy Choo doesn't get a whole lot of love. It's not really the sexiest name when it comes to men's fragrances, but Jimmy Choo Man Aqua, this stuff crushes. Before we go to the next fragrance, guys, here are some codes to save yourself some money across a bunch of different fragrance websites. Just want to point out the new Max Aroma codes, the JOMASHOP codes, and then of course we got the Frag Flex, the Perfume Box, and Twisted Lily codes as well. All right, next fragrance is Sculpture Parfum. This is from Nikos, came out in 2022, but now you can find it at discounters for a good price. Previously, it was a little bit harder to find. Maybe you had to order it from Europe or something like that, kind of a pain, but now you can scoop it up for like 25 bucks or less. Now, the original Sculpture, which came in a bottle very similar looking to this one, only clear, was a bit of a cheapy hype beast for a long time because you could find it for like 20 bucks, basically since forever. And it was also surprisingly good, really sweet, but a nice fragrance. Over time, you know how it goes. Fragrances will go through metamorphoses. That's a nice way to put it, right? And they'll change. And a lot of people don't like as much Sculpture Eau de Toilette nowadays, comparing it to what it was years ago. Enter this one. It's a little bit richer, a little bit denser than the original Sculpture, and it also has a really attention-grabbing sweetness to it. Now, you do have to like sweet fragrances in order to enjoy this one because it's sweet through and through. You got a lot of orange blossom in there, also have citrus, lily of the valley, good amount of tonka as it dries down, also a little benzoin, a little amber in there, and this is one that smells particularly nice in the air. Moving around, this one comes off very nicely, get a good scent trail going, has solid longevity as well. And it's one of those ones that sweetness right up close, if you smell it on heavy, it can smell a little syrupy, can be a little bit like, you know, that's too much, headache inducing, but in the air, as long as you don't go overboard like a madman, it's magnetic. I was trying this one out actually, and it was one of those ones where you start catching whiffs of it and you're just like, damn, who is that? Oh, it's me. And other people really enjoyed it as well. It's just, again, right up close, you go too heavy, and it's not gonna work quite as well. All right, let's class it up, guys. Barbados XX Artisan. Love the presentation on this. I mean, to an extent, it looks like they got an artisan bottle and just spray painted it silver, but I still think it looks cool. I mean, that is what it looks like though, isn't it? It's like somebody grabbed your bottle of artisan and they were spray painting it and you walked outside and they're huffing it, you know, silver all around their mouth. What's wrong? What are you doing to my bottle? What are you doing? Killing your brain. But it looks cool, so I guess I'll forgive you. So this one is like many other Barbados fragrances, cheap at discounters. And I think it is a darn good buy. It's actually a little bit similar to something like Grey Vetiver from Tom Ford, which I guess, you know, the coloration makes more sense then when you think about it that way. So it is a vetiver forward fragrance. I know some of you guys don't like that, you're gonna run away, but this one's pretty easy to wear, all things considered, very fresh, a little bit of a fresh spiciness in there as well. A little aromatic touch. A great one for casual use, spring, summer, fall during the day. Nice to the office as well. And I wanna point out just in general, once again, John Varvatos fragrances. If you're on a budget, but you want scents that smell of good quality, check out John Varvatos. Now, I'm not saying every single thing that they have is gonna work for you, but out of their lineup and what they go for, something there's gonna work for you, and it's gonna be a heck of a deal. Because a lot of their stuff nowadays is like 30 bucks right around, sometimes even less. Sorry, John. I'm gonna throw it back to one that I've always loved, Halloween Man X. Now, it's not that the fragrances that have come out after this one in the Halloween Man line are awful or anything like that, but they haven't quite scratch that itch the way that Halloween Man X did. That's right, the Halloween Man was scratching my itch. Nothing weird about that at all. I love the coffee in here. It's a roast coffee, pick it up right away, and it adds a really interesting aspect to the fragrance. There's also leather in here, kind of a boozy sweetness as well. It's been compared to the smell of Ferragamo Uomo or Uomo Signature. Both of those also really good, and I would have put those in here, but it would have gotten a little bit redundant to have, you know, Ferragamo Uomo Signature and then this one in the same list. So just kind of mentally tick those as well. This is probably the most popular of the Halloween fragrances at this point, but I think it's a great bang for your buck. Really good for fall and winter time. Great evening fragrance as well. And it really might surprise you how good this is for a fragrance named Halloween Man. Where'd that go? Oh, there it is. Butterfingers. Let's go on over to this one next, Legend Eau de Parfum from Mont Blanc. So with Sculpture Parfum, remember I talked about how this is a little bit of a denser, richer take on the original Sculpture. Same idea here with Legend. It's still similar to the original Legend Eau de Toilette. It's just this one is slightly more grown up and smells of slightly higher quality. Also, the bottle looks slightly better as well. Lots of slides here. So if I were gonna point out just one of those Legend fragrances to get between the Eau de Toilette and the Eau de Parfum, it would be this one, because it still has that versatility from the original. It still has that nice freshness, that bit of sweetness. It's got all of that. It's just this one can also pull double duty, work during the evening really well, or potentially even in more formal situations. It has a little touch of sophistication is what I'm trying to say. And it also, of course, smells similar to Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce and also Parfums de Marly Percival, right in that style, in that wheelhouse. Really well done, and now that you can pick this up for about 30, 35 bucks, it's a great buy. Let's go from the blacked out bottle to the all white bottle, Nitro White. This is from Dumont. Now this is like sort of a clone. So this is a clone, but this one is sort of. Now what do I mean by that? Well, it's not really a one-to-one with anything. This is one of those deals where you can tell that the idea behind it was, let's take this fragrance, but let's change it by doing this, this, this. So it has a bit of an Invictus style backbone to it, but then it has a lot of sweetness from vanilla. There's also honey, kind of a berry sort of sweetness to it as well. So it's fresh, but then also very sweet and a bit gourmand as well. And it gives it an interesting flair. And people really like it, which is probably not a surprise because as I've talked about 32 million times, sweet fragrances, fresh fragrances, those are usually the safest bet if you're looking for something that's a compliment puller. And that one does both, with a heavy, sweet lean. Solid performance, not mind-blowing. Nitro Red is a little bit stronger, but Nitro White still gets the job done. And it's really cheap at the end of the day, so it's one of those deals where it's like, oh no, my fragrance is only average performance, and I paid $25 for it. But I want it to last 36 hours. I don't care if it gives me skin cancer. Put whatever you gotta put in there, man. Oh wait, oh wait, now I have cancer. Oh, take it back. Nitro White, really good stuff. Change of pace a little bit. Some people have found a comparison to Stronger With You in here as well. Bad boy, but for me, it's more Invictus with all those twists and changes made. Let's go with the Zaro next. Chrome Aqua. Gotta work another Aqua in here, and I love Chrome Aqua. This is one of those chromes that I really, really enjoy a lot, especially for the price point. Very green and fresh, so it has a faint herbaceousness to it. It's not overwhelming. It's firmly rooted into like the easygoing, fresh, clean side of things with a little aquatic sweetness, but it has that touch of green and mint as well that helps really open it up, makes it more lively, more interesting, and it also smells great when it's cold outside. One of my favorite fresh fragrances to wear when it's cold, because the way that mint hits in the opening, it's just really refreshing. And I know you would think, well, maybe, you know, in wintertime, I don't want to wear something refreshing, but sometimes it's nice to have a change of pace. Yes, I love those warm, deep, rich, heavy fragrances as much as the next guy, but you know, wearing that 100 days in a row, sometimes I'm gonna switch it up and wear something a little fresh, something a little light, something nice. That does that really well. It smells great and decently unique. So we started with a fragrance that smells similar to Latent Exclusive. Let's end with a fragrance that smells similar to Latent. We've come full circle. Kind of. This is, of course, Lalique White in Black, and sometimes it's a little difficult to find at discounters. Like, it'll legitimately go 3-4 months and not be available anywhere, you know, just available full retail, that's about it, and then it'll pop up again all over the place. And when it pops up at discounters, that's when you want to snatch this one up, because you can get it for usually around $40, and at $40, that's a heck of a buy. Now, the bottle itself was presented as kind of a gimmick when this was launched. Basically, it was supposed to be like a little chalkboard, and it came with a white pencil, and you would draw on it and make it your own, which maybe sounded great in theory, but then in practice, it doesn't actually really work very well. But it doesn't even need a gimmick because it just smells great. It has vanilla, cardamom, lavender, ambroxan, olibanum as some of the notes in the fragrance. It's spicy, sweet, woody, and resinous, and it's extremely appealing. It also walks that line perfectly where it smells interesting and very unique to most people, but is at the same time versatile and really people-pleasing. Obviously gonna be more of a fall winter time fragrance, but Lalique White and Black absolutely slaps, and if you can pick this up for 40 bucks, like I said, it's a deal. So there we go, guys. There are 10 fragrances. You're not gonna spend much to pick up any of these, and all of them smell much, much higher quality than that price point. You can absolutely fool some people with these real easy. They don't need to know that you paid 25 bucks or 30 bucks. If they ask, hey, just tell them the retail price. That'll work. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.